Doing some screw inventory today to kick things off. Looks like I got about 45 of these guys, which I want to use these flat-headed bolts because they'll look a little nicer the way they'll sit into here. You can see it. That's how it was originally, I think. These are our original bolts. They're all bronze. They're chrome plated. That was the 1940 solution to, they didn't have stainless. So if you wanted shiny steel, you had to do bronze and then chrome plate it. Otherwise it would rust. Or, other metals would rust. This also is chrome plated bronze. And so are all the stanchions. Anyway, I'm going to make a ride up to Stowaway Hardware, I think, and stock up on some screws. And I'll be back at you. Ride back from Stowaway. Bolts only cost $1 each, or $1.09 for 40 of them, or a piece. Reasonable, I figured, for stainless. I didn't want to know what they would have cost if they were chrome-plated bronze. Anyway, I have returned with bolts. This is my original bolts. They're chrome-plated bronze. After I sorted through a bunch of them, I rejected these because the heads were a tiny bit smaller. And then, before I even left for the store, all of these I rejected for this project because the heads are just too small. These ones had rounded heads, and I want flat heads to match the original bolts. So I ended up with all these stainless bolts. They're $1.09 a piece, 40 of them. Head size is the same. And I think it'll be tough to tell at a glance which is what. Maybe someday, I don't know, swap the rest out for either all stainless or all chrome plated bronze, who knows, but whatever, this is totally cool. So I'll be getting on this in a minute. Picked up some sanding stuff. I heard these are really nice. It's just like a little sheet with a foam backing, so it's really easy to grab. It's supposed to last a long time. And then one of these two 36 grit and 60 grit. These will help me finish up that hatch right in front of my pilot house I've been working on. I was going to mention, these are called tree nails, and it's a block of mahogany or whatever kind of wood, and then you put through a bandsaw a bunch of times to cut all these grooves, and you flip it and do it a bunch more. Is it a bandsaw, or is it one of those scroll saws? I can't remember what they call it. But anyway, what you do is you break these off, and then you can pound them into a hole you want to repair. Like maybe a wood hole got all stripped out, so you just pound one of these in. And since it has those edges, it'll really kind of dig into the surrounding wood. You pound it in with some glue, and then after it glues over, the glue settles, you then cut off the tops. And then you've got a new hole to start with to re-drill and then put your new screw in. And I've had 3 different friends make me 3 different sizes of tree nails. Just kind of worked out that way. Maybe Colin, Mike, and Lex. Thanks, fellas. So I'm going to set the, I'm going to make a little tape mark on my drill bit to set the depth that needs to go for these screws, and I'm slipping the screw into the fitting first, and then I'll line it up this way, and I can mark it off just exactly right so we don't go too deep or any deeper than necessary. First thing I'll do is go around and some of these holes have so much varnish around the insides of them that the stanchions no longer fit in them, so I gotta go around with I think some 120 grit and round those out a bit so that all these can slide down into them. And then I'll go around with my drill bit, and you can see the old tree nails that I put in here around the hole. There's 4 of them there, you can see. So I'll sand these out, just place the stanchions, re-drill the holes, and then I'll pull them up and smear all my dolphinite in there, and then go around with the drill, get the screws most of the way in, and then probably finish them off manually with the regular screwdriver. And that's the plan. This is an interesting development. When I pull these out of the dinghy, I noticed there's some screws left in this in the base of this stanchion, and didn't really think anything of it, but apparently they're stuck in there big time. So I think I'm gonna pull this bolt out and maybe take it inside. Not entirely sure my approach on this. I'll probably start by just pounding on it and see if I can break those things loose. Well, I've locked it in an old lathe chuck I have laying around. I'll explain why I have it laying around in some other video maybe. I'm not having any luck pounding on these things. They're just like fused, or some type of reaction happened, I don't know. They're definitely bronze bolts. You can see the bronze sticking out now that I've been banging out with a hammer for a bit. And you can still see the chrome plating intact on this one. So I think the best thing I can do right now is get some lunch. The Berliner was out of meat by 3:10 today. It only took them like 10 minutes into their happy hour to be sold out. Anyway, I think I'm gonna bust out my hacksaw and cut off the ends of all these screws. Alright, so now I got all sawed down with the old hacksaw. And you know, it's always a good reminder to check your blade, because if it's dull, you'll just be sawing all day and not cut anything, but a new blade will cut right through that stuff. Anyway, you can see that the inside is that bronze color, and you know, it's all coated in chrome, so I didn't think you'd have an opportunity to see me cut one of these and see the metal differences in there, but there we go. My next step, I think I'm going to take something like a little, maybe a Phillips head screwdriver or something, and put it right in the middle of one of these and just pound the daylights out of it and see if some direct force will break some of those out of there. That is working, thankfully. I got one left. I just got to rotate the base in that chuck quick. Otherwise, the head is gonna hit the jaw right there. So I'll twist a bit, give it another whack, and hopefully that's enough for this stuff. Success. I think I'll go put this back on the stanchion now. You know, we did get some rain today though. It's sprinkling a bit, so I might have to pivot to some other project for a bit while this rain clears up. We'll see about all that. I scraped the residue off here, this yellow stuff. I think, I'm thinking about what it is. It's either probably like a polyurethane or a varnish, and I'm guessing that just got down in there between the screw and the plate and got all stuck. I don't think it was any type of chemical reaction or anything else. Just a little scraping with the screwdriver, just real gently. Got that cleaned up pretty good. I guess, well, an old buddy of mine's telling me a good way to clean up chrome is just take a piece of aluminum foil, just get a little wet and go for it, because the aluminum's softer than the chrome plating, so it won't scratch it, and it'll just take every last bit of junk off of there. So not something I'll be getting to today, but probably when I get everything installed again after we get some more varnish on there, I'll go over these, get them all cleaned up. Well, I went around and I had to do some scraping on the bases of all those stanchions where they meet the deck. There's all kinds of old silicone caulk and goofy stuff like O-rings and stuff like that stuck to them. So I just finished all that. I think I've got them all sanded correctly so that they sit all the way down. And so now I think I'm going to run around with one of these drills and do some drilling. It's like my little watch just accidentally cut a clip of me doing some laundry, so I guess I might as well give you a full clip of that, involving a fan and some comment here. You know, some of you guys might be wondering why I'm not using a tapered bit for this job, which is a bit that's shaped the same way as the screw. You know, it tapers down to a point at the end. The main reason is they didn't have one in this size. These are number 14 screws. Their biggest was like a number 12. And, you know, you can just use a regular bit as long, I mean, here's how you check if it's the right size, you know. See if you can view the threads on either side of the bit. There's a good view. This will work, and I'm going to jam some dolphinite in there anyway, so that little air gap between the tip here and the end of the drill hole, where there's a little air, that'll be filled with dolphinite, so no worries of moisture there. Anyway, I just figured I'd mention that, in case anyone was wondering why I'm not using a tapered bit. I've gone through, I did a bunch more scraping. I really want to be thorough on the undersides of all these. I missed a couple. And then I pulled them all up and shop vacked out the holes in there, cleaned all the scrapings up and stuff. And now it's dolphinite time. I like to use the natural color, by the way. The red stuff's just a little too red. But anyway, I'm gonna go, or I think they call it mahogany, not red, but it's really bright red, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm gonna start smearing this on here, down those screw holes too, and then set these all back in place. And once I have them all dolphinited, maybe if I have the energy, I'll get some screws in there. I'll just smear a bunch right on the cap board and then slap the stanchion in there. I think I might go through and put the screws in while I go. That way it'll squeeze out the extra dolphinite and I can scrape it up and use it on the next one. So I think I'll grab my drill and stuff, or my drill. So I used the drill to get most of the screws most of the way in, and then I finished them off with that big old screwdriver. Got them nice and tight. And it squeezed a bunch of that dolphinite out, and I'm pretty happy with it. Looks like the screws seated in there pretty good. They're nice and snug. So I only got about, I think 17 more to go. Took a minute and cleared up all the rest of the extra dolphinite. Figured it helps to have a couple extra little scraper things, like I got some extra offcuts to some high density seaboard. So I use that to kind of, get in between the toe rail and the edge of the base of the stanchion. So I guess I'll be thorough as I go along and keep it all nice and neat. More for you. I put some extra dolphinite down between where this, well, you know, this is where some standing rigging that goes up to the mast hooks up to. It's hanging around here somewhere. I think it's, here's the fitting. That'll reattach to here. Well, just to fill that gap, I smeared a little extra dolphinite in there. It looks pretty good. I don't know how many of these I'm going to get done today. Taking maybe 10 minutes each or so. I was sure to use the old hardware on this one, and I will on the other side too, just because they're so close to the nameplate, which is all chrome. And I want to have a little piece of stainless there amongst all this chrome. Well, I got 4 of these things on here, and I think that's all I got in me for right now. Been a long day of running around and stuff, so I'll be back at it tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys then.